down their pens. I thank the institutions that allowed the board to use their premises as marking centers. I also thank the parents and guardians for supporting the candidates through the Uace stage in their educational journey. And I am indebted to the members of the press who actively highlighted and publicized UNEB activities throughout the examination period. I thank all the candidates for taking the examination in the first place. And to those that have performed well, I join my chair to say congratulations. I acknowledge with profound gratitude the dedication to duty exhibited by staff at the UNEB Secretariat. Mama, their commitment and sacrifice, which is never visible to the public, enables the board to deliver on its mandate. Today, we shall collectively give glory to God that once again, He has enabled us to deliver on our mandate. Mama, on collection of results, the board will upload the examinations results on school portals as soon as you declare them released, and each school can therefore download their results as soon as they are officially released. Hard copies will be available, but not immediately, and we shall inform the centers. Candidates and candidates only may access the results by using the short messaging service on MTN and Airtel mobile networks, and the results will be posted instantly if they follow the correct instructions that we have given. That is going to the message menu, typing UACE, leaving a space and putting the full index number, and then sending to 6600. Many cases, the candidates make mistakes and then they are unable to obtain their results the way they should. Mama, submission of queries, we wish to request or remind the heads of centers that it is their duty to check the results of their candidates and submit any queries or amendments in time. They should do that electronically through their portals, and we give 21 working days after the release of the results. Adherence to the timelines will enable us to complete any amendments in good time, so that certificates are printed in good time, and also other uses of these results, for example, admissions to universities and tertiary institutions, can be done when we have made all the corrections. Mama, I want to thank you very much for your kind attention, and Mama, my words are finished. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dan Odong, the Executive Director, UNEB. And though he says that his words are finished, we know that the press will continue to engage him to say more. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just about to invite Professor Bua, but I also want to note, Mama, that the Executive Directors of the other examination bodies are also here. Just kindly stand and wave to Mama, as well as the Executive Director of the National Council for Higher Education, Professor Mary Okwakol, and her team. Mama, by good coincidence again, today is the International Mathematics Day. Yes, and people can cross-check. And given the kind of information we are getting from Mr. Dan Odong, we want to use this day to encourage many of our learners to stop the phobia of mathematics and actually encourage them to take it up, and we are glad that the girls are already doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, I now want to invite Professor Bua to take us to that moment when we officially hand over the results to Mama for her subsequent action. And I would like to call upon the front bench to support Dr. Obua in carrying out that function. Okay, let's have the two first, the Executive Director and Professor Obua. And this is really the moment where everybody is getting very anxious. And right away, let's have the front bench and all the MPs present, the three of them, join that team. Yes. Our dear press and cameramen, that is the only opportunity we shall have for the official photos of this event. So now that the other team is joining Mama, you are free to take all the Under Secretary, you are encouraged to join that photo moment. And I'm very confident that that is the picture that is going to make the headlines tomorrow. Sure. We can begin reading the front pages of New Vision and Monitor already. Thank you. And as that moment is concluded, I think Professor Bua noted that there was some confusion in the public related to result A, but I would like to inform all of us that some of us enjoyed more parties at the different schools and communities because everybody had actually performed well. Thank you so much. At this moment, I want to invite Honorable Peter Ogwang to make a few remarks and help us to invite Mama to address the nation. Thank you.
Can I ask all of us to clap for our dear minister before I invite her? Mama, the First Lady and the Minister of Education and Sports, the Chairperson and members of the Committee of Education and Sports, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education and Sports, the Permanent Secretary, Education Service Commission, members of the Uganda National Examination Board present here, the Executive Director and members of staff of UNEP present here, members of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Mama, the country waits for your message. Allow me at this juncture to invite you to address the country and formally release the Uace examination results for 2025. You're most welcome, Mama. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Please sit down. Thank you, Honorable Gwang, and thank you, UNEB. My colleagues, the Honorable Ministers of State, now represented by Honorable Peter Ogwang, the Chairperson and members of Education and Sports Committee of Parliament, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education and Sports, the Chairperson of the Education Service Commission, represented by the Permanent Secretary, the Chairperson UNEB, and your Executive Director, and the whole family of UNEB. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. We congregate here this afternoon yet again in recognition of the milestone attained by the 140,080 learners who sat for the Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education examinations from the 11th of November 2024 to the 6th December 2024. As you all may know, today's release of results marks the third and last set of end-of-cycle results that UNEB diligently administers annually. On behalf of the government, I want to appreciate UNEB for this work that they do More so in 2024, when we had to administer the pioneer UCE examinations under the revised lower secondary curriculum, as well as winding up on the end of cycle examinations for UCE under the old curriculum, and then PRE also. In my mother tongue, there is a saying that in Runyankore it says, Otamkwete Autumikadle Tujende, meaning that the spectator in a wrestling match always tells the wrestler, please put down this man or woman, your opponent, quickly, so that we can go and attend to other issues. Well, UNEB is like that wrestler who is always told by spectators to do the job quickly so that we can go and attend to other things. But it is not as easy and simple as it appears from the outside. We appreciate UNEB for the diligent efforts put in to ensure that each year candidates and their parents receive the end of cycle results in time, all the time. Yes, and they deserve a real clap, people. Mr. Odong had to actually ask for it. What's up? Clap for UNEB, people. Therefore, the work done in seeing that nearly 1.3 million learners who sat their PRE, UCE, and now UACE examinations in the year 2024 have their results released on time for proper planning by their families and us as a government is always a milestone that we should not take for granted. As you heard from Mr. Odongo's statement, the end of cycle examinations across all levels, that is PRE, UCE, and UACE, combined for the year 2024, saw a 7.1% increase in total candidature. Whereas 2024 UACE examination results alone had a 28% increase in candidature. As UNEB often does for all of us, these end-of-cycle results provide a quick reflection of the health of the basic and secondary education system in our country. Therefore, it is important that the various levels of government, as well as the education system, and other stakeholders in the education sector, interest themselves whenever these end-of-cycle results are being released. When we allow ourselves to see the release of these results as another annual routine, we miss a salient message that is being communicated to us about not only the performance of our children, but the health of the education system too. For example, there is need to take interest in what has led to the significant increase of the 28% in UACE candidature for year 2024 compared with previous years. As I have often said, good things do not just happen. Good works always bring forth good fruit. It is only a matter of time. The fact that we may not be able to explain right away why we are seeing good results today does not mean that the good results just come about by a stroke of chance. Often, there is intentional work that has been done by government over the years in the background. However, such good works take time to bear fruit, and by the time the fruit comes, people have even forgotten what was done way back. therefore failing to associate what was done then with the good results they see now. So it is important that this nearly 30% increment in the 2024 UACE candidature is scientifically and logically explained to enable the government to know the good efforts that need to be made better, while at the same time doing away with investments that are of little to no value in secondary education. Relatedly, I have taken note of the observation that the learners amongst the 2024 UACE cohort who studied sciences and mathematics continue to increase year in, year out. This is a desirable trend, as you heard Mr. Dong say. That is good for a science-driven socio-economic transformation as a country. Evidence points to the fact that learners get interested in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education because, in quotes, it is often engaging and project-based, allowing them to tackle real-world problems, fostering critical thinking and developing skills valuable for future careers and innovations. Our children now know and are quite involved. So that's why we see this trend that is coming up and continuing. Nonetheless, we still recognize that there is still room for improvement in learner performance, in sciences and mathematics. Best practices in STEM education point us to the fact that the way sciences and mathematics are taught needs to change. This change starts with the teacher changing his or her attitude toward STEM and how it ought to be taught. In the recently released 2024 UCE examination results, you also saw how the performance in science subjects was generally good. For parents with children that have studied using the revised O-level curriculum, you hear their own testimonies of how they are enjoying the process of learning, especially the projects that the children are doing. This is exactly what learning should be, an enjoyable experience both for the learners themselves and even their parents, the parents that are involved in their learners' learning. As I mentioned earlier, good things do not just happen. There must be intentionality in effort. As a government, we are now making strategic investments in reviewing the secondary education curricula to be competence-based, project-based, and learner-centered for the learning process, not only to become meaningful, but enjoyable for both the learners and teachers. So, I call upon the teachers and parents to support your children as they navigate learning using the revised lower secondary curriculum and now the A-level curriculum that has been adapted to utilize similar teaching and learning methodologies as those of the O-level curriculum. The A-level curriculum has been aligned to the lower secondary curriculum by making it competence-based and learner-centered. In making it competence-based, the emphasis of learning is not only on acquisition of knowledge, but translating this knowledge into desirable skills, values, and attitudes. This alignment of the A-level curriculum is intended to make the methods of learning interactive, while emphasizing problem-solving, critical thinking, creativity, and innovation as demonstrated in the way learners solve the challenges they encounter in their day-to-day life. It is therefore my hope that the learners who have progressed to Senior 5 will have a smooth encounter with with the A-level curriculum in terms of the learning methodologies now used. Our hope is that the reconfiguration of the secondary education curricula at both O and A levels into competence-based and learner-centered shall be that small flywheel, that gives momentum to move this big mass called interest in learning uptake of STEM education. For us as a government to sustain the milestones and successes that come with reconfiguring the O and A level curriculum into competence-based, project-based, and learner-centered, the higher education institutions must now, as a matter of necessity and urgency, review their respective curricula for initial teacher education and training. So that's the trend we are taking. I'm sure you understand that we are moving from here to also higher education at the university level. The mismatch where universities continue to graduate teachers who cannot utilize competence-based and learner-centered curricula is undesirable. Therefore, for this mismatch to be cured in the universities and higher education institutions, the academic staff who train the teachers must also realign their learning delivery methods to become competence-based and learner-centered. You have heard the Executive Director of UNEP say that the 2024 Uace examination revealed that learners struggled with relating the concepts they are learning in sciences with what happens in the students' everyday life. This problem was not only observed in the science subjects, but also the humanities, such as economics and entrepreneurship. These shortcomings that UNEP has ably pointed out are exactly what the government is attempting to cure by embarking on reforms in the teaching profession and curricula for secondary education curricula. In other words, curricular reforms that the Ministry of Education and Sports introduced at O level in 2020 have a direct effect on the curricula used in higher education to train students pursuing a career in the teaching profession in Uganda. As a ministry responsible for higher education, we are going to coordinate our efforts to ensure that we put in place the necessary policy environment to enable the training across higher education subsector become harmonized with curricular and teaching reforms introduced in basic and secondary education levels. Therefore, I call upon the higher education subsector to take keen interest in the process of reviewing the A-level curriculum over the course of the next 4 years, as has been provided for by Cabinet. In addition, as a pioneer cohort of the revised O-level curriculum prepares to join higher education within the next 3 years, it is imperative that the institutions at this level will have made the necessary adjustments to accommodate learners who have gotten used to a different way of learning that is competence-based and learner-centered. I also want to reassure the country that the government has put in place blocks in the foundation for ensuring that there is adequate capacity to absorb learners willing to pursue higher education at university level. First and foremost, the government policy of liberalization of education service provision has seen 48 private universities, as you all know, established across the country by the private sector. Secondly, the government has been establishing a public university in each region around the country in a phased manner as resources become available. As of today, 10 public universities are already operational. Mountains of the Moon University in the Rwenzori region, Soroti University in Teso region, Busitema University in Bukedi region, Gulu University in Acholi region, Lira University in Lango region, Muni University in West Nile, Kabale University in Kigezi region, Mbarara University of Science and Technology in Ankole region, Chambogo and Makerere universities in the Buganda region. A public university for Busoga region is in advanced stages of establishment. Recently, the stakeholders from Bunyoro also identified land in Buhimba district where the campus for a public university in Bunyoro region will be located. And the government has allocated Uganda shillings 15 billion to commence construction this financial year for Bunyoro University. So, the current stock of 58 public and private universities in the country have the capacity to absorb the number of learners who wish to transition from A-level into higher education. On the other hand, we are cognizant of the fact that some learners may not be interested in pursuing the academic career path of higher education. The government has 15 technical colleges that can absorb persons interested in the TVET career path after Senior 6. From those interested in applying for government sponsorship for programs offered at all public universities and other tertiary institutions, including the technical colleges for the academic year, the application window was open from 4th November 2024 to 20th January 2025 by the Public Universities Admissions Board, PUJAB, for the 2025-26 academic year. Hopefully, you took advantage and applied. The TVET path also has the decentralized application modality that runs outside the PUJAB process. The date for decentralized application shall be communicated to the public by the Ministry of Education and Sports for the April-May window. Let me also take this opportunity to thank Makerere University as the host of the PUJAB Secretariat for taking the PUJAB application process online, starting with 2025-2026 academic year applications. This is commendable. It is use of ICTs in delivering an enhanced learner experience while assessing education services in an efficient manner. Perhaps before I conclude my remarks today, please allow me to say something about the results of the recently released 2024 UCE examinations, especially for learners under the revised O-level curriculum. I know that the grading system is confusing, as you heard Mr. Odong say, to many, and the public continues to ask questions. As you have heard, UNEB is going to come up with awareness engagements to increase the public's understanding of how the grading system works under the revised lower secondary curriculum. I have also been informed by the NCDC that working together with UNEB, they are yet to finalize the development of an assessment framework to guide the assessment process for the aligned A-level curriculum. When this process is completed, the public shall be sensitized about that also. With that, I congratulate candidates of the 2024 UACE examinations upon the achievement. My plea to you is to keep yourselves safe and healthy so that you become all that your Creator, the Almighty God, put you here on earth to achieve. I thank the parents, the guardians, the teachers, and all the others who have supported the candidates through this cycle. As I communicated at the release of the 2024 UCE examination results, schools have the individual responsibility to always maintain confidentiality and privacy of the learners' results. Once again, I thank UNEP for a job well done. I thank all those who support UNEP in various ways to make the entire 2024 examination season a successful one. It is now my singular honor and pleasure to release the 2024 USCE examination results for public use, and I thank you. Thank you, and God bless you.
In charge, Mike. Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's briefly sit for just 3 announcements, and then we'll get into the anthems. Mama, we want to thank you so much. And according to the new competence-based curriculum scoring and assessment criteria, allow me to score you at A, which means exceptionally good performance. Mama, you've led the sector so well, you've guided UNEB so well, and the nation is very grateful. And in that regard, UNEB has actually given us some material to help us understand the grading system better. Please pick it and take it up. Number 2, we are going to have a briefing, a press briefing, right at the spot where we are received from, the boardroom down, and all technical officers of the Ministry of Education are encouraged to stay. That briefing is going to be between us and the press, and it will be led by the PS, Minister of Education and Sports. Mama, my name is Semakula Henry, and I'm a Principal Education Officer in the Department of University Education and Training. I'm here to also represent my commissioner, who is away on other duties. Ladies and gentlemen, may we now be upstanding for the anthems in reverse order. Thank you very much. We can all congratulate ourselves for this great event. Press, you're encouraged to proceed down to the venue for the briefing, which is the boardroom where we got our breakfast from. But as usual, when you come to State House, you don't have to go hungry. There's a very heavy luncheon for all of us. Even when you're not part of the briefing, please don't leave without lunch. The technical team is encouraged to get down to the venue for the briefing.
Yeah.